hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope that you guys are doing wonderfully well this Friday evening. Thank you so much for spending your Friday with us tonight. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have a very special guest. I'm not going to share a lot about her because I want her to come in and share her story with you. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on Facebook and on YouTube. And later, we're going to do a little snapshot and a recap on Instagram. So you can join us over on Instagram at 7 o'clock. But I am Chantel Denise, and I love having conversations with people, everyday people, because I believe everyday people have a story to share. So without further ado, I want to bring this beautiful, lovely woman on, Cathrine Georges. Please welcome Cathrine. Hi, Cathrine.
Hi, Chantel. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining. Oh my God, you look lovely.
I'm so excited. I'm really so excited and humbled. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I am so glad you could join me tonight.
Yeah.
Who has the kids tonight? Because I know you're a mama.
No, they're in the living room with their iPads, so they're plugged into their electronics.
Good. Well, I am so glad you could be here. Before we get started, though, I just want to give the people a sense of who you are, and I'd like you to tell them. So if you would be so kind just to introduce yourself again, tell us a little bit about, who you are. And if you could do that, like, girl, if you can do that in 60 seconds.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm going to give you a prize after.
I will try. I've had 40 plus years of living in 60 seconds. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm a mom, and I'm an actress and a model, and I have been doing it for over 20 years. But yeah, I've done everything between commercials, national commercials of 12 plus, off-Broadway shows, other theater here in LA, and I've just been blessed. I've been like #blessed. I hate saying that, but to have the work that I have done. And but yeah, I think our conversation is going to be great because the struggle is real for for moms, and acting and modeling, all that, even without being a mom, has its challenges, definitely. And yeah, I've been married now for 17 years. We just had our anniversary. We've been together 20 years. Yep. So definitely heavy into the married life. And I don't know. I guess that's it. Oh, I do have a hobby. I play the flute and the oboe.
I did not know that. Oh my goodness. See, now I got to hear that. now I got to hear that because I did not know that. Wow, something new. New. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, all the stuff that you just shared really is a lot of what I want to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
You had mentioned #blessed. I actually like that, girl. Thank you. Keep putting that. Keep doing it because it's such a great thing when we realize we're blessed. #that thing, but I know you've done some film work, and I have to tell you that you did a film with an actor that I absolutely love. And I was a little jealous, girl. I saw that film. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
I can guess.
Take a guess.
Idris?
Yes. I saw that, and you had a scene with him, and I'm like, oh, can you tell us the name of that movie again?
You guys, so it was thanks. It's called Obsessed. And yeah, I think it came out 2009, 2010, like that time frame. Yeah. Idris Elba, Jerry O'Connell, Ali Lauder.
Was Beyonce in that too?
Beyonce, yes. Yeah.
Wow. So you got on the screen with some pretty cool people, but I don't know if they know that they got a pretty cool person on the screen with them, because I know you. And so I just want to lift you up on that because they definitely got a great woman that walked alongside with them. So
no, you're too kind.
It's true.
No, You are too kind. But you know, it was really such a blessing to be on that production. It was a full first full circle moment for me as an artist to be involved in that film, even though I feel like you built me up so much and you're so kind in your words to me, but honey, I'm delivering a cocktail. But you know, it's like one line, but you know what? I'm so proud of that too. Like just I think that's what's awesome. What I love about acting and modeling is that you get to be part of the creation and be part of that moment, even if it's just like, you know, this.
Yeah.
You're still there, and you're still and if I could just tell you, that was some of the best acting I've ever done, because
Wow.
no, right before I was delivering the drink, I got down on my knee because I had to be in frame for the camera, and I got down on my knee and I literally almost fell and like dumped the cocktail on Idris Elba. And I scraped my knee and it's like bleeding. It's not just like a little tiny scratch. It's like bleeding. And,
oh my goodness.
and I was on. It was like I had to do my line. You know, it's like you're walking in there, you're not the star, you've got like this much time, and you've got to choose, you know, the director is going to choose, like he could have just had my voice and my hand coming in, do you know what I'm saying, but he actually gave me the shot. And so I actually thanked him after we were done shooting at the post party, and I said, hey, I know I could have been on that floor, that editing room floor. Thank you for giving me that shot. And he was like, oh yeah, cool. You know, that I even said anything about it. So that I'm literally, I'm bleeding. I'm almost falling. And I'm just like, here's your cocktail. You know, it's from the lady at the bar. Like having to play it cool.
Hey, I love it, Cathrine. You know, I'm glad you shared that too, because people don't know those little behind the scene moments that happen. Like you felt, you pretty much skinned your knee, you know.
Yeah, I pretty much ate it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the cool thing about it that I do want to share with you, and we'll talk a little bit more later and go into a little bit more details about just who we are as a people and the opportunities we do get. Like, even like, I love how you say you pretty much, you own that one line. And, you know, those of you who are actors out here watching, you know, you may get a small part, but you own it. And I love how you said that, because that one line could turn into so many other things. And I do believe it has for you. I believe that you've gotten more and more work and you've been doing more and more. And so we have to always remember that when it's our time to shine, light it up, baby. And I really felt like that scene that you did have, I noticed you, you know. Now I know you, but I just want to tell you, I noticed you. Aww. And so I didn't, even though Idris Elba is one of my favorite actors, I took my eyes off of him for a moment. And you know, some people out there watching, they're like, girl, why you take your eyes off? But it was because I noticed you in the scene. And so I just wanted to let you know that that's very special. I love the director. I don't know who the cinematographer was on that film, but I just want to give them kudos too for taking the chance to say, I'm gonna give this girl this shot. Because sometimes that don't happen. You know that. It doesn't happen. Yeah. So thank you for giving us a little piece of that journey. But I want to just segue a little bit for a moment, because you do the modeling, and I've noticed that a little bit lately. I've been seeing that on your Instagram feed, and I want to get into that a little bit. But you, we were talking even earlier, you were talking about how not necessarily you took a break in the entertainment industry, but you actually kind of go through this ebb and flow type mode, because sometimes the industry is booming for you and sometimes it's not, and sometimes life takes precedence. I want to talk a little bit about that, just because I think that would be good for our audience to know a little bit more about. Like, just tell us, like, what do you do when it's not, moving?
So, well, yeah, again, I've been doing it for 20 years, and there's peaks and valleys, you know, and sometimes the work comes and it's great when it comes, but um, it, it doesn't come without chasing it, for the most part, in my experience. You know, some people get lucky and they get, you know, that break, or they have that one connection, and I definitely have, all the work that I have gotten is because I have known someone who's gotten me in the door. So I don't want to take credit for every, I mean, not everything, but like most of my work. Yes. And I worked in a casting agency with Valerie Masalis, casting, and I was her reader, and I would read for projects, and the directors would, you know, like the way that I read it, or I would meet the producers. And, you know, so I've been really fortunate and have chased things, but also life has happened. My dad got sick with cancer. He was sick for 9 years. And I had babies, and so it takes you out. Those things just take you out. And aside from that, I'm married to a very ambitious, amazing man who is like, we're just the yin and the yang, you know. He's like so out there and just going for it, and has really done amazing things, and built 4 restaurants and built homes, and he is on the go. And I know I'm speaking to a lot of wives out there, but you know, when there's lulls in the acting, it's like, oh, well, I can take care of this for you. I can do that for you. I can do this. So I'm the helpmeet, if you know that phrase, you know, the helper, and really, you know, truly becoming, you know, a business partner with him, and doing the things that we've done. And yeah, that's been gratifying, and has had its victories too, you know, just learning and going and building with him. So but I think sometimes mixed between just being busy with being a mom, going through like some postpartum stuff, even just trying to figure out who I am, and where do I stand, and what do I stand for. And like, you know, there was a part in my walk, my Christian walk, when it was like, oh, I don't know if acting's for me. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I should do it, you know, and just sort of answering all those questions. And because I was an actor before I was a Christian. And so my mindset around it, and how I was trained and brought up, didn't really mesh with what my new, you know, beliefs system was. And then my marriage, and then how do I be an actress and be married? How do I be an actress and be a mom? And just sort of trying to figure all that out. And so sometimes I just like duck out and be like, I'm just gonna, you know, no, I'm just kidding. But I've been really fortunate to have an agent that gets me, and she is a mom, and Magdalena, and I've been with her for probably 15 years, and she has kids of her own, and she also has similar beliefs and all that. So it's I think that's another hashtag blessed, because she gets it. And so she won't hear from me for a while, and then like check in, like, everything okay over there? Like, you want to work? How about some new headshots? You know, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we need to do that, you know. So but yeah, and then just you know, you, for example, like, you come into my life and you bring so much, and have, you know, you're an inspired artist, and doing that thing, that reading with you, it woke me up in like in a different way. And 2020 woke me up. So I feel like now I have more of a purpose, more purpose driven, like, yeah, I want to actually work, you know, where that's where I am now. But it's not where I was 5 years ago, and it's not even where I was a year ago.
Wow, you've had quite a journey. You mentioned something about the agent that you have that she gets you. That's like so key right there. We have some actors and actresses watching and performers, and so it's like one of the things, and we can go south here at any time because there's so much that we could talk about, but I want to just stay focused a little bit. But I appreciate that you said that you have an agent that gets you, so it's kind of a win-win relationship for you and the agent. So you guys kind of like help each other. And so often we get caught up in, we got to please the agent, we got to please our children, we got to please our husband, and all those things are good. But when it takes away from our innate self, our authentic self, and what we really want to do and what we're bringing to the table, that's when we got to start figuring out some things. It's like, how does this play out in my life here? And it sounds like you have figured out the rhythm. Like sometimes, it's going to be slow, so you go help your husband. Sometimes, it's going to be busy. And so those times you end up getting babysitters. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the family in a little bit, but I think that just what you've chosen for yourself is pretty golden. Like you get it, and you have people in your life who get how it works, how life is not. It's not all about like I got to be here all the time and I got to do this. And like your agent, she's pretty cool, calling you to say, "Hey, let's check on those headshots." That's cool. Most people don't have that.
No, yeah, for sure.
When you do have that, that is a hashtag, that is a blessing. So thank you for sharing that. I remember when you did do that reading for us, my husband's play, and when I saw you do that, I said, this girl is supposed to be working way more than what she's doing. And I thought at that time that was by choice. You just chose. Of course, I know the industry comes and goes, and sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not so hot. It's not, the auditions are not coming in. I think we all can relate to that. But I just saw you, and I really didn't have any direction really for you because you were killing the role. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you find an actress or actor who's really doing and really embodying the character, there's really not much to offer. So I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciated what you brought to the table on that. But I wanted to ask you, since you've been not so much as doing theater, because that was a theater piece, you've been modeling a lot, and I want to jump into that because I wanted to ask you, like, which one do you like the most? Modeling, if you had to choose modeling or acting. But I'm loving what I'm seeing with this modeling girl. I can't wait to go on Instagram and talk a little bit about that. But which one of them do you like the most? Or is there a preference? And tell us a little bit about modeling and what kind of like launched what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, I guess I've been modeling since I was a teenager, off and on, but my real passion is acting. So that if I had to choose life or death, like had to choose, then yeah, I want to be on a TV show or keep acting. But the energy in modeling is a lot similar to acting. So for me right now, it's about cultivating experiences, like artistic experiences, and being with like-minded people, that really bring the best out in you, that believe in you. And like, honestly, that's why, like, I loved being with you and John on your reading, and it allowed the freedom to express and be yourself, and it was good material, so that helps too. But it's just about having an artistic experience with people that are creating a vision and following through with the vision. So I've really been enjoying my my modeling stuff right now. Yeah.
It looks great. It looks so good.
These people are so talented. They're super talented. I have a little pop-in visitor right now.
Okay, go for it. You know, this is hey baby.
Say
You want to
hello.
get you some, hi beautiful. You want to get you some camera time. You look beautiful as always.
Sometimes she comes to my photo shoots too sometimes, huh?
Really
Picture
getting
taker.
that behind the scene experience. I love it.
But honey, mommy's
I
on the
love it.
phone. You can't talk right now, pumpkin.
So good to see you.
Okay. I love you.
I love those moments. You know, this is why we get to do this right here.
This is
You
what
know,
it is.
things happen. And so that's a perfect example, y'all.
Yep.
Like when you
Yep.
have kids,
You can think
sometimes
it's
they,
about you, but it's not.
and you know, it gives them a chance to kind of witness what you're doing
Yeah.
when they come into the room. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, I love that. Now you talked about you're more passionate about acting. Can you tell us why?
For me, it was I studied a lot, so it's what I studied in outside of school, actually.
Mm,
But I studied in New York, I studied in LA, and so I think when you spend so many years of your youth as your foundation and building your acting toolbox, it's like,
mm-hmm.
ooh, when am I going to get to use that and do that? And so I just yeah, I think that's why, because that's has more dimensions.
Mm. Nice, nice. I like that. It's the expression of acting is so beautiful. And anytime that you can be creative, it's
Yeah.
such a, wonderful thing. So, I want to segue a little bit into because since the baby girl came into the frame,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. That was one
That's
of my
what it
questions.
is.
One of my questions was, how do you balance life being a wife, mother, and you?
Well,
Like
I
if
think
you had to give us if you had to share like something that's in your rhythm to help you balance that. I know that you talked early about like there's an ebb and flow type of vibe, but like what specifically, if you had to say, this is how I balance this is what I specifically do. And what do you say yes to and what do you say no to?
well, like right now there's a pile of dishes in my sink out there, but didn't get my attention because I'm here with you. So I don't know that I'm balanced, is more like there's something that's falling apart and a fire over there, and then I'm over here taking care of this, and then oh wait, let me put out that fire. So it's a juggling act, I guess, more than a balance.
Mm,
But
mm,
what I've decided is that I need to be intentional about my time. And that has been something that is new to me since maybe COVID or just this last year. Is like, the days just fly, and
yeah.
life can happen, or you can like make life happen. So I've
Mm,
had to literally carve out sections of my day for myself. And I'm talking about 20 minutes. I'm just going to exercise for 20 minutes. I'm just going to
yeah.
read a book for 20 minutes, and just give myself a little bit more than what I had been giving myself in the past. So
Mm,
I don't think I have it all figured out. I'm just trying to um, do a little bit for myself, because there were days when I didn't even take a shower for like days on end, and now in hindsight I'm like, oh, that's depression. That's not
mm,
that's not normal, like self-care, self-love. And so I feel like I'm waking up to this sort of, wow, I really need to give myself a little bit more, and put a little bit more attention into myself, and then into my
yeah.
career, and not so much where my attentions have been lying. That makes sense.
Mm. It does. I really appreciate that and respect that, like you're being very honest about your experiences and you're also realizing that you're saying, "Hey, I've had to try to figure out how to take care of myself." I think that that's very genuine and I appreciate you for sharing that. I think sometimes we can go on camera and we can talk about all these things that we are doing. But we all know that we're still growing and still changing. And so you
Yeah.
just expressed that so clearly. So thank you. Thank you. You had mentioned the word intentional. I love that word
Yeah.
because I think that we as people have to be intentional about what we want to experience. Otherwise, like you say, life will happen. You can
Yeah.
kind of like make life happen, but it will happen whether you want to be a part of the making of it or not.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and you've got
appreciate
kids and everybody's pulling you in different directions and everything needs help and everybody needs taking care of. And it's like, whoa,
yeah,
where am I in this? What happened? Where did I go? So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was doing a conversation with a couple of people. We actually did like some soul care, self care type conversations on the
Yeah, yeah, I
show.
saw that with Vicky. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
Vicky did one, and then I had another girl, Michelle Wright, do
Okay.
one, and we were just talking about that. Like, it's when you mentioned the dishes. Sometimes it's okay to leave them for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, is anybody getting hurt because they're left? Is anybody dying because they're left? No. Sometimes that's okay, but I do like the acknowledgement of, hey, if I'm just in my bed every day and not taking baths and not taking care of myself, that's an indicator of something. Hey, if this keep going on like that, because there's nothing wrong with missing. Like, hey, I would tell you now, there's been times I'm like, I felt falling asleep. I didn't get that bath in, but
Yeah.
I woke up the next day and took it. Versus you going days just not really functioning like you're normal.
Mhm.
Red light,
Yeah.
red flag. There, that could be something more. So thank you for acknowledging that and sharing that. Um, that kind of brings me to where I want to move into. I want to talk a little bit about worth, because I
Mm.
think at the end of the day, that's kind of like what we're dealing with here when whatever we're doing, whether we're actresses, whether we're models, whether we're moms or working people, that word is going to always come up no matter what you do in life, no matter who you are, man or woman, you
Yeah.
know. But I want to read some of these comments first because there's a few people that have said some things. So I want to jump on here and see what they're talking about over here. So someone say, "Oh my, I saw that movie just recently on Lifetime." So
Okay.
it's streaming, yes.
Okay.
As artists, when it's our time to shine, let it light up. It's important to cultivate good professional relationships in order to prepare ourselves for potential opportunities. Kind of like
Yeah.
what you shared earlier. And then there's a hashtag inspire artists here. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Someone said, "Hey,
It's true.
what are some of the challenges that you face working as a Christian and an actress?" Let's
Oh.
touch that real quick. Let's answer that. What are some of the
Woo!
challenges that you face? That give us one for time's sake. For time's sake, one challenge that you face working as a Christian and an actress.
Well, I think that's pretty loaded, but
Because
yeah.
there's probably several, but give us one. And then what did you do with the challenge?
Okay. Gosh, I mean, the thing that
This
just
is an
comes,
impromptu moment. Answer. Hey,
it
that
is
that
impromptu, but it's good. Like I've done a lot of commercial work in the last decade, and anytime a commercial audition would pop up for like eHarmony or one of those, and I just I couldn't do it. I'm like, I
hmm,
just can't do it, and I know that more falls in the boundaries of marriage, but I know other married actresses that were going on those auditions, so I feel
yeah.
like that's where your faith kind of collides and you rub up against it and like, ugh, you know, I I I was actually up for a job with John Stamos, and it was a yogurt commercial, and it was very interesting, very what's it called?
Had nothing to do about the yogurt.
Had nothing to do with yogurt.
So that's a challenge right there. For
It was.
whoever's asking that.
Yeah, it was, and I was like, I'm literally up for the job. It's between me and another girl, and I just had such a heavy heart, and I was thinking like, oh gosh, if it's not for me, God, then take it away. Just take it away,
Mm.
And I didn't book it, and I was like, thank you, God, because I don't know how I would, I guess now that translates into what do I want to show my daughter later, or what do I want,
Yes.
and integrity and all those things that are sort of bundled up in that. Now, there's another side to that coin. There's another side, like what's wrong with showing what the sinner does, and we all have that part of the story. There's good and evil. So are you going to play the evil? Are you playing the evil one? And so just discerning that and finding your way through it. I think it's just whatever, to answer the question is like, where do your heartstrings pull? And then what are you allowed, what would you give it up? And just, if you had to put your integrity on the line,
Good one. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. There's just so much that, like you said, that's a loaded question. It's got a lot of levels on it, and there's so much to it. I think for me, like at the end of the day, I'm like, does it strip my worth? Does it take away the value of who I really am? Do I personally want to be represented this way? And so, like, those are some of the things that have made a lot of my choices. And really, like, I love that you said you prayed, like, God, take it away if I'm not supposed to do it. And that's always actually probably the best choice, to just go, God, if you don't want me in this thing and the part of this, take me away out of. But God, if you want to use me here, because sometimes we're in these situations because we're there to be ambassadors to help somebody else. So you just never know. But I love that you went there and made your choice from that. So that's beautiful. Thank you. So I hope that answered the question for you guys out there that was asking that. I want to talk about worth, because I think that's very important, especially now, nowadays. There's just so much stuff that's thrown at us. We're bombarded with a lot. I know that in the industry, I have definitely felt the issue of losing my worth. There were times I felt like not good enough because I wasn't getting the part, or either being treated a certain way when I did get the part. And so, like, those things kind of rub up against you. And if you don't have a solid core, woo, you'll go to the left, you'll go to the right, you'll go wherever the wind tosses you. And so I've had to really work on myself personally. So when I step into situations, it's not about, it's like when I come to the table for the audition, you either want what I have to offer or not. I'm not begging you for the job. I'm not kissing butts or anything like that for the job. I'm not doing anything differently from who I naturally am. So if I got to create something to do, that's a worth issue for me. And so I had to learn that. It took me a long time to learn that. So I want to talk about that just a little bit. Like, if you had to define worth for yourself, what would it be? What would you say?
Well, it's something I've been examining in the past year also. It's been sort of part of my awakening, because I think I tied my worth to my productivity. So I'm really feeling like if I'm not producing, whether it's with our businesses or with the kids or whatever, then I'm not worthy. I'm not, then I don't have a worth. So I've been trying to separate those and
Yeah.
you know what? No, my worth isn't tied to my income or my productivity, at all. And I don't know that I I've arrived.
Yeah.
It's something I'm working on. And I think we have to heal old wounds, childhood wounds, forgive ourselves for our past mistakes. And that's stuff that, I'm actively after, because, I feel like to live the best quality life, you have to love yourself, and you have
Mm.
to value yourself. And I know how God values me, but do I really believe that? And am I really living from that place?
Yeah.
And I think what I keep getting brought back to is just gratitude. And I feel like when I lose myself, it's like, am I grateful right now? Am I looking at what they have, or what that
Mm.
person, or where, you know, so that, I feel like, coming from a center of gratitude helps build up my worth. So,
Yeah.
um, but worth, it's self-love, it's having integrity. I mean, there's a lot in that as well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's deep.
it's
Deep
deep.
levels of, it's like from
It's
head to
deep.
toe. Head to
It's
toe.
deep, and it starts young, and that's why I'm trying, to instill in my daughter, because my parents were amazing. They were really awesome people. My mom is my role model to today. But, we all make our mistakes, and we all
Yes.
do things, and we get wounds as a child, and maybe it wasn't even intentional on our parents' part. But, for me, it's always been about sort of finding my voice, or feeling good
Mm.
enough to speak up or say something. I'm just naturally a patient person. I'm like pretty mild tempered, and I could just sit there and, not share. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's something that has its virtue and its value, to be a good
Mm-hmm.
listener and to be patient, but also there's hiding in that too. And I think that was
Mm.
conditioned from me, from childhood, to be a good girl. And so it's difficult being a mother and going and trying to teach worth into your daughter too.
Mm. Mm. Oh, Catherine, that's so good because you're so right. Like, we grow up, and how we grew up actually spills over into our adult life
Yeah.
often. I think that each person has to choose for themselves, like, to grab the stuff that you, like you say, your parents are great parents, your mom is your role model. So you take that, what you learned from her, and you
Yeah.
apply that stuff. And then you look on the other hand, like, well, but I was just going around being a good girl. I wasn't really using my voice. So how do I use my voice now as an adult? And I think one of the ways you are using your voice, actually, which I want to encourage you with, is that you're doing acting, you're doing some modeling, who you are is shining and coming forth. And more and more as you continue to grow, and as we all continue to grow, levels of us continue to blossom out and stand out. And so I always look at those kind of opportunities and those type of successful situations as like, oh, okay, this is one brick. I'm just continue to build these bricks of life. But when you talked about what you trying to teach your daughter, it's so it's so amazing. First of all, like as parents, that that role to be able to pass something on to our daughters, and we may our sons, because you have a son too.
Yeah.
We may never get it all right, but the awareness and the acknowledgement that you're saying, hey, I'm working on this. I haven't arrived. I
Mm.
I appreciate that so much more than anything, because being aware and being humble about what's going on in your world is always the best place to be, because that moves you to where you're trying to go, if you
Mm.
can start there. And so I thank you for that. Someone put on here, how did you learn self-love? I want to touch on that a little bit. Like, if you had to share, since you're aware of that, how are you working on that? How are you dealing with self-love? What did you learn about self-love, and how do you apply it? Any one
Yeah.
of those?
Well, I had to learn about self-love because I hit a wall, really. I was
Mm.
overweight.
You were overweight when?
Yes, during
When,
no,
like 19, what, 89 when you were
no,
born?
no, no, 2020,
2020. Oh, so when,
2020.
well,
It was like
I think we all
pandemic.
gained a little weight, right, for the pandemic. I can
But it was
relate to
like
you
it was
too.
creeping up on me anyway. And then, God, I don't know, in his mercy was like, here is a pandemic. You can stay home and figure out how to exercise and not eat like crazy. I don't know. No, that's a terrible joke. But it's 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 something I've just had to be mindful. When I'm not mindful, and then I'm just allowing, like you said, to the wind to blow me in any direction. The day happens, the hours fly by, and then suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't drink any water today. I feel terrible. I have a headache, or I didn't get a shower for 3 days because I've been, doing bills until midnight, and then, waking up at 6 a.m. and taking care of the kid,
Yeah.
and just, so it's, the mindfulness and the thinking like, oh, I have to be the owner of my time. I have to be intentional about, no, I'm going to drink a glass of water before I have my coffee. I'm going to, and sometimes I write like post-it notes to myself, like,
I love that.
just to encourage, and even about, I have one that's up right now that says, just ask. Because it's hard for me to just ask for help or just ask for something. Or if I know somebody that's working on a project, it's like, I have a friend who was a producer, and it's like he's working on this project, and he was putting together a reading, and I was like, can I come? Like, but it was so hard just to ask.
Just to ask.
And he had me read the lead part.
Wow.
And it was like,
Wow.
just ask. And if I didn't do that, and I lived in my fear, and I didn't love myself enough to say, you know what, I could do this if they would just give me the chance, So
Yeah.
anything from just making the choice to drink your water or take your shower, or,
That's good stuff, Cathrine.
yeah, I
Good
think,
stuff, girl.
yeah,
You had said, it's so funny when you said just ask, because I have a little motto, I have a quote, ask for what you want, you just might get it.
there
So
you
that's
go.
kind of like something I stand behind, but I appreciate you sharing that,
Well,
you
knock on the door, it'll be opened. It's like, you
that's
gotta knock. You gotta knock.
that's what Jesus said.
That's right.
So that is so cool. But we're almost at our time. But I do want to just recap and just say thank you because what you just shared, like you shared, hey, I got to be the owner of my own time. You also shared, I write these post-it notes for myself, and I put them here. This one says, just ask. That, girl, that stuff is so key to our worth. You are growing in your worth and just grabbing your own value by what the actions that you're taking with that. I think that is powerful. So I hope the people that are watching are hearing that stuff, because that's how we build our self-worth.
Yeah,
Is
you
when
build it.
you be
Yeah,
intentional about, I'm going to put this for myself. This is my affirmation today. I'm going to
yeah,
live in this. Be bold and courageous, Chantel. Just put yourself out there.
that's
We're
right.
not worried about what people thinking. You're just going.
Mhm.
Those things build worth, character, integrity. It just continues to keep us growing.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. This has
you.
been a great conversation, honey. And we could talk about, because there's so
We
much,
can
there's
just keep
family,
going.
there's career, there's life, there's personal, there's so many elements of what we can do in this conversation. But I feel like
Yeah.
you've really given a lot. And I am thankful, honey, Very,
Well,
very
I am so
thankful.
grateful. I'm so grateful because to be in your company is amazing. And I just
Oh,
loved watching you do your thing and doing what you're doing. And I'm so impressed. And I mean, really, it's beautiful what you're doing. It's so positive and uplifting. And you just have so much to give. So thank you too.
thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I have been wanting to do something like this. I don't think that there's enough positivity in the world. And
Yeah,
if
I
I
agree.
get an opportunity to do just a little bit of it, I'm going for it. And God put it on my heart. It was very clear. Go and do this. No matter
I
what's
love that.
going on, no matter
Yep.
what's going on, go and do this. So thank you for the
Yeah.
reminder, and the encouragement. I appreciate you. Um, you guys, that's our time. Facebook and YouTube. I really appreciate you guys watching. In closing, Catherine, I would love for you to give people any information of where they can reach you if you want to be reached. If there's if there's anything that you have that you want to even express even more about some things and rhythm and tools that you do, or any kind of advice that you could leave people with today, that would be awesome.
Okay, well, you can always DM me on Instagram. I'm really bad about checking my Facebook, but yeah, so I think Instagram is the best way for now. And yeah, I'm happy to talk to anybody and everybody in all walks, you know. But I think I think what we talked about today was loving yourself
Mhm.
and learning how to prioritize yourself when life is busy. And doesn't matter if you're an actor or a model or a mom or stay-at-home mom. I mean, I've been all that. And you if you don't have you, then like what kind of quality life are you living? So you got to prioritize your own time and take care of yourself and live from a center of gratitude and yeah, I guess that's it,
I
my
love
friend.
that.
Yeah.
Live from the center of gratitude. You guys heard it from Cathrine Georges. Thank you so much, beautiful. We are going to go on Instagram for those of you who want to join us over there for a recap and just like get a little bit more. Please join us over there at 7 p.m. Thank you for watching, all of you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments. And I want to say thank you again, Catherine. And I want to tell y'all out there, make it a good day because y'all can. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.
Bye.